Hello, this is Scry Mind bringing you another Warcraft 3 audio commentary. This is going to be a 1v1 human mirror match on Terenas Stand between myself and another human player, flow-098. In this replay, I'm going to be Huck Fang, the orange player. We're both going to be going for sort of standard openings. The slight variation is I fast build my altar, which is going to make my barracks a bit slower than normal, but it's going to make my hero come out quicker, obviously. So the reasoning for this is I'm going to try to get level 2 on my Archmage before him and hopefully get an advantage that way. I don't know if I fully take advantage of that, but that is the goal. I plan to creep this shop with Militia as quickly as possible, and you're going to see that his goal is his opening is sort of similar, a little bit different in that he's going to go for the Merc camp, which again has its advantages and disadvantages. I personally think this is a slightly riskier camp, though it does offer access to Mercs, and it's going to give him a little bit more experience, whereas this is sort of the safer option. Notice there's no creeps that cast slow, whereas at this camp there's 4 creeps that can cast slow on your units. And it's a little bit closer to the opponent's base. So if I was going to harass him, it'd be a little bit more risky for him to be creeping at this Merc camp. But as it turns out, that's not what I'm doing. And sort of good for him. So I get this water elemental going, footman. I'm going to go ahead and cast both the water elementals to tank. And I'm going to get this priest down as quickly as possible, and then just continue creeping. Not too demanding in terms of micro, with all these militia and the water elemental tanking 2 of them. So not really risky at all, honestly. Just focus. The big creep after you get the troll down, the priest, and should be good to go. If we take a look over here at him, he's taking a little bit more damage than me, I would say. And notice all these slowed units. If I was to come in here right about now, maybe even a little bit sooner, I probably would have arrived if I would have been deciding to harass that or check that. He would have probably lost several units, probably some of these peasants, and maybe that priest. So it would have been very bad news if he got creepjacked right there. Even with just a hero and 2 footmen, or 1 footman and another coming up, would have been pretty dangerous for him. Now this is sort of bad news for me that that I ran here and I had myself food blocked. I'm at 28 under 30 food, so I can't afford. I don't have enough food to support getting that berserker, which I really wanted to do. Sort of bad news. And he pushed into my base there at a really good timing to kill that tower. I didn't quickly cancel it, which was bad on my part. Didn't notice it quick enough, and I'm going to end up wasting my TP or using my TP due to the timing here. And yeah, so this battle is going to be me trying to kill this priest, sort of failing, and me trying to keep everything alive. Again, sloppy play. I think this was my first game yesterday played, so that's going to be my excuse for being a total noob in certain situations in this game. Feel free to use that excuse in any of your replays if it ever is necessary to deflect blame. But anyway, notice the game's pretty much it's pretty close. Our hero levels are fairly similar. He's a little bit ahead of me here, and I've dropped one of my Century Wars over here at this expansion, and here in a second I'm going to go drop it at his other sort of natural. And he's going to try to use his 4 footmen to continue to harass my base. I'm going to run over here and try to get these trolls killed. It's pretty easy to kill the troll priest if you run upon it with a footman. The berserker is a little bit more tanky, but again, the footmen are going to do good damage to it, so it's pretty good to try to kill that if you get a chance to, since it is a pretty big DPS unit and it costs a lot of resources. So if I can knock that down, it'll be really good for me. Notice my tech, I teched a bit faster than him. I want to say that was probably just a little bit sloppy play on his part. He's got plenty of resources. I would have assumed he would have already started teching since he's got about 900 gold and over 250, 270 now wood. So he's throwing up some arcane towers. I don't think he really had to fear me, you know, being too aggressive. If I push his main, you know, with these towers, and he can easily just militia like I did, and you know, he's already over there at his base, so he's pretty safe, I think. So my goal is mainly to try to track this this berserker down and get the kill, and so that's pretty much what I'm focused on doing. He picked up a boots of speed, which is going to give him a few more options in terms of focusing things. You have to be really careful when your opponent has an archmage with boots, especially if you don't. But in terms right now, just a footman, he's going to be able to run down these footmen. So it's going to change the timing in the micro. I'm going to have to run these footmen way before I would earlier have to think about running them. I'm going to run them when they get around 150 hit points or so. I don't run this one because I'm dumb, but this one does manage to get the berserker kill, so I think that was advantage me. The footmen cost less than the berserker, and I think they are more experienced also, so it's going to put me right back around his experience range. I probably could have been militia creeping and hit level 3 and continue to pressure him. It would have been good to be pressuring these footmen right here, especially if I had level 2 water elemental, because as you see, they're pretty damaged, and I maybe could have gotten a few more kills, but I don't have a TP, and I didn't militia creep for 3, so I opt to just run over here and get the Panda second, and I'm going to be throwing up Sanctums, doing all that good stuff, sort of the usual, and his tech's behind mine, so he's not quite throwing his Sanctums up, and he's also not going to have his second hero as quick as me, which is going to be sort of crucial in this little skirmish that we're going to have here. I run up here, and I see this mud golem. I tried to get the kill on it, I just focus it. It's going to go down really quickly to footman. The mud golem is much more of a support unit. It has the disadvantage of being melee, but with a really low hit points, so you know, it's really easy to kill that. If you get a chance to, it's out in front or something, where you have range, you know, whatever, just go for that mud golem. It's going to take you, you know, one volley or something like that, as opposed to letting him cast slow a little bit sooner than he otherwise would have, waiting for sorks if he got those. Notice I don't have any breakers out right now, so slow is much more impactful in that situation than the short time it took me to kill the mud golem. So that was my reasoning there. And notice he didn't have his Mountain King out quite there. If he had a Mountain King, you know, it would have been a much more dangerous battle for me. But I could stand in there and take some shots with my heroes, and I would, you know, have these footmen red hit points. I didn't really worry as much about. You know, didn't run them as quickly and all that jazz. So he only got maybe 1 or 2 footman kills there. He lost some units, so I think that was pretty much an even battle, I would say. And again, if he'd had the Mountain King out for Stormbolt, you know, I probably would have lost a lot more, or had to run, you know, and stuff like that. So now you know, he's going to press in a little bit, but he knows he doesn't really have the army to really honestly do any damage at my main. And plus, since I'm you know, this is around the time frame that I should be getting tier 2 units, as you notice I have a breaker. He's not going to want to press in there without his tier 2. So, and I've got this Sentry Ward scouting, which is very useful because right here he really has sort of a little bit of map control. I know he's not being aggressive with it, so he's not really containing me, but he does have these scout farms, and if I didn't know where he was, it would be a lot more sort of a risk to creep this, because again, I don't know, if I didn't have the Sentry Ward spotting his army, I wouldn't honestly know if I had the leeway to creep this with a small army that I had. You see only 3 units, but knowing he was over here creeping and expanding, I didn't feel any danger in doing this, and so I was able to do it and keep the hero levels the same. And so see, I got the True Shot item. He also got the True Shot item. Now I'm gonna sell mine, I believe, which again, a little later, it probably would have been very useful since I ended up getting a whole bunch of mortar teams. But right now, I believe, I'm trying to think, I'm pretty sure I sell it at some point. But that's arguably a mistake on my part. But right now, I don't actually have any mortar teams, so sort of the reasoning in my head was, you know, I don't have any units to take advantage of. 200 gold, that's going to be nice to have right now. So, and grab a teleportation scroll and everything. So, but again, if in a more long-term mindset, I might have realized, you know, I was probably going to get some mortar teams later, and would have loved to have had that boost in damage, but so it goes. So right now he's going to be creeping. He doesn't really have any big camps, honestly, left nearby, since he crept this merc camp early, and he went ahead and crept these other things. So I'm going to go ahead and catch up to him and get this merc camp. And he's expanding with the 2 towers I see, so I'm going to get my expansion. I'm not going to get my towers immediately, since I sort of know where he's at, but I do also get towers eventually. And so notice he's adding priests. He actually doesn't have any breakers yet. I usually get the breakers first. Not sure, you know, sort of typical stuff, which is the theory craft best way to go, but I just like, you know, having breakers in case they have sorks. These creeps cast slow, so you know they're gonna be pretty good, and you know a lot of those 2 of those creeps have mana pools, and they're gonna be sort of victim to feedback and everything. So I generally like to get the breakers first for tanking and everything, and then add the priest after. But he's gonna be skipping. He's going to be skipping up to tier 3 pretty quickly, and his goal is going to be more for knights to tank, and a little bit fewer breakers than me, but so that's going to be pretty decent since I have a lot of breakers, and knights are fast units, so, and again their damage type is going to be good against breakers. So he's going to sort of take advantage of this moment to creep these 2 greens. And I'm going to creep this 1 green up here. And try to keep my Archmage back so I can get level 3 on the Panda. It's pretty crucial to keep an eye on the hero levels, especially in a really close matchup like this. Because if he gets level 3 and you only have a level 2 Panda, and say maybe, you know, I got a little bit closer to 4 on the Archmage, but I didn't get level 3 on the Panda, or even if I did get 4, you're not quite getting as much out of level 4 on an Archmage as you are on level 3 for a Panda, because, you know, Brilliant Sword mostly is, you know, level 1 Brilliant Sword is generally enough, not just to, I mean, it's not that you don't want level 2 Brilliance, but, you know, if your Panda's only level 2, he's not getting nearly as much benefit as out of the aura as, you know, he would out of a level 2 spell. And so that's generally why you'd rather have 3 on the second hero before you get 4. So he's going to TP here. Notice, you know, the Panda's going to be very good in certain situations. One is going for hitting towers and peasants. Going to be very good at doing that. This battle is probably to his advantage because he's got his 3rd hero out. The Paladin going to be very strong here. And he almost manages to kill that Panda, which is the strength of the Mountain King with Stormbolt, as opposed to the Panda there. You know, I have to be very careful with the heroes. Luckily, I had a potion of invulnerability, and the timing worked out where the stun wore off just in time for me to use it and save the Panda. I think that battle was probably even. You know, before he got there, I killed some towers and stuff, so pretty good situation. I think, you know, I wouldn't say that was a loss, definitely, since I saved the Panda. If I lost the Panda, that would have been probably a game changer, but I didn't lose the Panda, so pretty good. So right now I'm thinking, aside from creeping these camps here, is I'm going to try to do a Zeppelin harass, because I know I took out 2 towers here, and even if he rebuilds them, he's probably not going to make too many towers. I'm thinking he's going to mostly try to be on the aggressive with his resource use, and not not just mass up towers. And so I'm going to go for the Zeppelin harass. Now the Zeppelin only holds 8 units or heroes here, especially, you know, if you don't have mortars or anything like that. Mortars take up 2 spots, but I feel like I don't need that big of an army with his hero levels to do damage, especially if he's only got like 1 or 2 towers. I feel like I can do a lot of damage with a pretty small force, so that's my goal here. And this is really the this is really the ideal timing window, maybe a little bit earlier, to do this. Mid game is generally when you want to try to do this to human. To avoid any sort of, like, you know, them having gyros or anything, you know, griffins or something like that. So again, look, he doesn't have a TP, so that's one good thing for this harass to be very successful. And again, he doesn't have sorceresses or gyros right now. So, you know, after I kill, you know, some of these peasants, I'm going to be able to just jump in the Zeppelin, and I probably could have kept chasing those peasants with these things, breakers and footmen. Probably a mistake there. I didn't quite realize what was happening. I was just trying to get everything in the Zeppelin. So I missed out on 2 kills, but I did kill 3 of the peasants there, and the tower with not any real loss. Lost a water elemental, but and it cost me, you know, 240 gold for this Zeppelin. But since he's got the expansion, he's going to have 2 sort of vulnerable points for me to do this. Again, I'm going to pop down here. I drop the units first and then the heroes to try to avoid these towers, and again, I keep the Zeppelin back, so, you know, potentially use it again. And now I'm going to kill these towers, and he's here, so, you know, once I kill this tower, I'm not really going to be able to fight this army, especially with all these knights, and, you know, if he calls to arms, and it's only like 8 units, or, you know, actually only 6 units. Now, I want to point out here something that I thought about doing, and it's going to sort of explain some of the things that I do. For some reason, and I'm not quite sure, not entirely sure why he did this, but he's going to send his flying machine down here. I don't want to say he's a hacker, probably not, but, you know, this is a really good move for him. Turns out, because I don't know if he recognized that my Zeppelin had ran down here with red hit points, or he was trying to use this Goblin Laboratory, but he sort of saved himself a headache, because what I was planning to do, and as you see, I have 2 scrolls of Town Portal on my, one on my Panda, one on my Archmage. I have a Staff of Teleportation, and my plan was, what I was thinking with that Zeppelin was, okay, I've got the Zeppelin down here. I've killed the towers at his main. He's probably going to turn around and be aggressive now that he's sort of forced me to TP. There's no real creeping left to be done, and, you know, there's not really going to be much for him to do sitting around. No advantage for him to sit around at his main or, you know, whatever. So he's going to go ahead and be aggressive since he had the knights, and I, you know, probably noticed that I didn't with that force that I came in there with. So he's going to press me. What I was thinking about doing was staffing the hero, either the Archmage or the Panda, and going to town on his workers while he hopefully wasn't in his base. So I slowed it down a bit here, but this is really a bad fight for him to fight me near my base, because I've got access to militia. The Shredder is going to be like another small force to add to the army, and he's actually brought his Shredder also. So the militia is really the only advantage, plus these towers. But it's sort of fortunate for me that I actually had 2 TPs, because he's going to spend most of this battle focused firing my heroes. And that's sort of the advantage of the Mountain King, that he's going to potentially be able to punish me in certain circumstances. He's going to get a little bit lucky here, because I've managed so far to keep my heroes alive. And I had a staff to maybe save the Archmage, but he gets a bash on the first hit right there, which, you know, was probably the difference maker. He managed to get that kill. But the problem, though, is he spent so much effort chasing my heroes around that had, you know, potions and teleport scrolls and all that stuff, that he lost like his whole army doing that almost, and even got a ton of damage on his heroes. So it wasn't nearly as you know, of a game-changing move to kill that Archmage after he lost so much. You know, I had all my militia and everything, and he spent all the time chasing the heroes. So I'm going to get level 5 on the Panda, and he's going to run here. Sort of a mistake, I think. He allows me to run down his hero and get the kill. So he actually lost level 4 Mountain King and his Archmage. So in the end, that was just a terrible battle for him. And pretty much threw the game. He's going to have a very hard time getting back from this like 40 food deficit that he's got. And in the hero levels now, again, I've got 5. And I think my Archmage is also level 5, yeah. So I've got 5 heroes, which is a pretty big deal. And he only has 4, though he does have a Paladin level 2. So, but you know, he sort of gave away, you know, gave me too much momentum here. And I've got all these mortar teams, 4 mortar teams, and you know, that is going to put his, even though he doesn't have any towers, so it's really, you know, I really don't honestly need the mortar teams to make this an effective push, especially considering the army sizes, but, you know, the fact that I can quickly take this expansion down before he even really reacts to it, by the time he gets there, it's going to be destroyed. And so from here on, he's got a sort of put on the clock. He's got to get some kind of advantage here, and he really isn't going to be able to. You know, I probably win this battle outright, but, you know, after I run out of mana on my heroes, I decided there's not really a reason for me, and again, I've used the Staffs of Sanctuary, or the one of them, so, and I don't have my Archmage for this battle, so, you know, once I run out of mana, I think it's probably going to benefit me more just to TP and get my hero and everything, and then, you know, regroup. But looking back, I probably, arguably, maybe could have stayed here. The problem is, though, is you got to be careful against Tri-Hero, especially when you're lacking your first hero. You know, human Tri-Hero can sort of pull miracles out of nowhere if you're not careful. And you know, he's close to level 3 on the Paladin. He is level, you know, 4 and 4 here on his heroes. So, you know, he's got Knights, so. You know, I was probably going to lose some more, you know, mortar teams, which I didn't really want to. And I didn't have mana on my heroes enough to cast spells, so I made the decision just to regroup and go back later. Destroying his expansion, I pretty much knew that I just had to keep leaning on him. And should be able to, barring any sort of crazy hero snipes or something that I let him do, as long as, you know, I micro correctly, I should be able to hold this advantage and just win the game. I'm not really in danger of him pressing me anymore because I've still got my towers. He doesn't have any mortars. You know, while Knights do okay damage against buildings, you know, taking shots from all these towers, and he's not going to be able to quickly kill any buildings. So he's going to have to play defense, which you know, is not so great for him. And yeah, I'm still going to retain my slight army size advantage as he's got to rebuild his expansion. It's going to take a lot of resources. And so I'm just going to come press on him again. I've still got several mortar teams. And just going to roll over here to his base. Notice I've got 71 food. He is at 53, so. Now, one bad thing about Knights, you know, it's good to have Knights against Breakers usually. He's even got upgrades on them, but Breakers, Knights, unlike Breakers, are not immune to Drunken Haze and everything. So actually, if he ends up with an army of mostly Knights, you know, they're gonna be really suffering from Drunken Haze, Breath of Fire, because Drunken Haze is actually a really strong support spell in a lot of ways, especially against clumped up units. At level 2, it gives like an insane chance to miss. I can't even remember. It's like probably 65% chance to miss or something like that. So I got to be really careful with his hero. As you say, you know, you saw he almost managed to focus his Archmage and he bashed it. That was really bad. I sort of panicked when he hit that bash. So like I knew the Paladin was going to get the heal off, but you know, past that, I didn't know if he was going to, you know, if he threw a bolt there, he was going to get him. So, but you know, I'm down to 61 food. He's down to 41. So, you know, that battle was still sort of a push, I'd say, though it put him at no upkeep, so that was not that great. But we take a look. It gave me level 6 on my Panda. He's still only 4 and 4. He did get level 3 on the Paladin, so you know these level 3 spells are really going to hurt him. And now the ultimate for the Paladin is going to be really strong. It's going to allow me to do a lot of things. You know, Cyclone some of his heroes. You know, taunt, and you know, just a ton of DPS from those 3 little pandas. Now, what you want to do with that ultimate, though, is really want to take advantage of your mana pool before you cast the ultimate. Get off a few Breath of Fire and Drunken Hazes, you know, maybe just 1 round at least, because while you're in the Panda, you know, while you're, you know, using the ultimate, you're not going to be getting any advantage out of your level 3 Breath of Fire. So you really want to cast that before you use the ultimate, and probably Drunken Haze too if you can get away with it. It depends on the mana, but you know, it costs 140 to cast both Drunken Haze and Breath of Fire. So notice I used those a few times before I popped into Panda form, and I don't remember what it's called, but the actual name of the skill, but the ultimate. So now he really does not want to fight these 3 pandas because they have a lot of useful abilities in addition to just tons of damage output. You know, they're all doing like 50 average damage or something like that. So, and Cyclone is going to last a lot more on units than heroes. So I just went ahead and popped that knight up in the air. But you know, one thing you can try to keep the Paladin in the air so they can't heal or something like that, or just chasing stuff. So he can't even fight me while I'm using his ultimate. It's pretty much game over for Big Daddy Panda, getting that last hero kill. And notice he's got nothing but knights right here against a level 6 or 5 Panda. You know, that's not gonna cut it. Otherwise, they would be, you know, half decent. But again, that Panda is just gonna be just devastating for mass knights because they're not immune. So that's sort of one downside to getting the knights. He does have mobility. They're an ideal unit against breakers, which I have a lot of breakers, but they do suffer from not being magic immune. And having that crazy Panda is really going to help me. And so yeah, this game's pretty much over. He's not quite he's quite admitting it yet, but I've killed his expansion twice. He doesn't have any income right now. He's got all these knights, but you know, 55 food for me, 41 for him. I still have the food advantage, and definitely with that expansion up, it's got 3,000 gold, and I'm throwing up another expansion, so just in case that runs out. So notice he's gonna fight me here, and yeah, so he's gonna try to focus his Panda, which level 6, you know, gonna be tough for him to focus it down. I can just staff it if need be, but you know, just gonna hit him with the notice all the missing and everything, and then one more Breath of Fire. He's at half hit points pretty much, so pretty bad situation for him. Even if he got that Panda down, he's not likely to kill it with all those staffs and Paladin for me. So hopefully you got some ideas for that matchup. The Zeppelin Harass, pretty strong strategy against human, especially with the Panda as opposed to the Mountain King, because the Panda's benefit is focusing units with Breath of Fire and everything, whereas the Mountain King, you know, usually they're going to go for Stormbolt, which, you know, is okay against peasants, but you know, you can really, you know, they really have to be careful against Breath of Fire with their peasants, because a couple of shots of that and you could wipe, you know, half their economy out. So a lot quicker burst damage there in certain circumstances, and it hits buildings, so it's going to help you against towers as well, clumped up towers, and peasants usually near each other, so pretty good. And yeah, you know, it's an alternative to the Mountain King second, and also the Panda, you know, he's going to be good against, you know, a lot of things, casters, tanks, gyros if they get them, or griffins and knights and everything. They have, drunken haze is going to be pretty strong against that stuff. So, and the bear ultimate is always fun if you can pull that off. So that's just one potential wrinkle you can throw into your game if you choose to do it. You have to play it a little bit differently. You have to be very careful with your heroes against a Mountain King, especially when you don't have one, because it's the strategy sort of hinges on having 3 heroes, human in the late game. And if they pop off, any one of the 3 heroes, the Paladin or the Archmage, or the Mountain King, it really limits what you can do in fights. And, it can quickly get out of hand, losing any of those heroes in the middle of a battle. Like it almost happened to me. I almost lost the Panda, which would have been a pretty huge deal at level 3. So a lot of resources and a lot of experience would have went his way. He probably would have ended up with the 5/5 heroes. And, that level 5 Mountain King, it could make, all the difference. Level 3 Stormbolt is insane. It's like Death Coil with extra damage and stun. So, you never want to be dealing with that, especially with an Archmage with a little bit of few hit points, or, level 1/2 Paladin, etc., etc. So, it can quickly get out of hand on you if you drop a hero or 2. Notice I had the hero kills. That was sort of sloppy play on his part a little bit. He decided to fight a battle near towers and militia, all my wood militia and everything else. So, and during that fight, he spent his entire effort to kill a hero, and he never actually killed it. So, well, he actually did kill the Archmage eventually, but he lost way too much to do it. So, hopefully you enjoyed that, and you will come back and see some more videos at other points. So this is Scry Mind signing out.